I'm not going to tell you how much of that is true right there, sir. And then she told me after a few more questions, sir, it's going to be okay. You don't need an ambulance. If you'll just calm down, you've got plenty of time. Put your wife in the car and drive normally to the hospital. Yeah, right, sure. Ma'am, I told my wife, we have got to go. You get your stuff. You get your stuff. We have got to go. Let's go. And of course, like any good husband in the room, I ran out to the car, right, sir, to make sure everything was ready to go. Insurance stuff, check. Gasoline, check. You know, game on the radio, check. When, folks, my wife comes walking out of the house. Now, she's about to give birth to one of the greatest things in my life. Man, you would have thought nothing was happening. My bride walks out the front door. You ladies are amazing. And ma'am, she was drinking literally the biggest glass of iced tea I have ever seen in my life. She's drinking tea like nothing's wrong. She gets in the car and she's just sipping on her tea. And I was like, well, darling, you want to stop and get a Whataburger with your tea? True story, ma'am. She goes, oh, that sounds great. So I was driving way too fast to get to the Whataburger. Sir, my wife spills her iced tea. Oh, yes, sir. You know where this is going, don't you? Sir, honestly, I didn't see that part. Ma'am, I just happened to look over and I saw this liquidy substance running into the floor of the car. And I was like, this could only happen to me. This is fabulous. Her water, oh, it just froze. Oh, and it's got lemons in it. You know, folks, you got to find your funny out there. And I tell you, folks, a few years ago, this will tell you how low they're scraping the barrel at First Baptist Church of Godly, Texas. Sir, they made me a deacon. I tell you, I was about the last choice on that committee list. I can tell you that right there. And you know, folks, I wanted to make a good impression that first Sunday. And I went to meet all the new folks, and I was so excited. And I'll never forget that lady, that special lady that day. I just walked right up to her and I said, well, hello, ma'am. How are you doing? We are so glad you're here today. Hey, folks, have you ever been about to say something? And maybe you know what you're about to say. It's completely wrong, but it's already left your brain. And it's headed toward your tongue. And you can't get it back. I don't know why, ma'am, but the next voice that came out of my mouth was, well, hey, look at you. When's that baby due? Oh, yes, ma'am, I did. And of course, she was a little flustered. She was like, and what baby is that? That baby Jesus, when is he coming again? And I tell you, folks, I've been married 26 years now to 7 different women. No, I'm totally I always say that part and never know if I'll get thrown out of the building or not. I tell you, next week, December the 29th, and my wife will have put up with me 26 years. Now I know I could get testimony in the house tonight of what it takes to start a great marriage. But I have to say, the first day I ever met my future wife, man, it didn't go the way I had planned. I'll never forget, sir, this beautiful Spanish lady. She comes walking across the student center. It was like angels were just carrying her across, and her feet weren't even touching the ground. That's how beautiful she was, sir. And I was going to say hello, and my friend said, would you stop being afraid? Go say hello, go say hello. Sir, I walked up to this beautiful Spanish lady, and I was just going to do it. I was going to say hello, and I couldn't do it. So to avoid the whole thing, I walked into the bathroom. Yes, the wrong bathroom. True story, man. And guess who walks in right behind me? My future wife-to-be. You know, man, this was not how I had planned this out the whole time. Sir, the first things my future wife ever said to me were, "Are you supposed to be in here?" I looked into those beautiful brown Spanish eyes and I was like, "No, habla inglés." That one kind of sneaks up on you right there, doesn't it? And I tell you what, sir, may I ask, how long? Well, I usually get in trouble when I do this, but who's been married? Let me do this. Who's been married 40 years in here? Oh, wow. 50 years? Oh, my, let me ask. Sir, can I ask you a quick question? Because my wife she'll check on me when I get home. Sir, what is the secret of romancing your bride?
Happy wife, happy life.
That is a smart fellow. You can give him a round of applause for that. I tell you, I've tried to keep that in mind because that is a great slogan right there. But I will admit it, ma'am, I am romantically challenged, and I know that. Sir, 26 years ago on our honeymoon, we were given a gift of spending a week in the Swiss Alps. Some of the most beautiful mountains in the world, sir. And I'll never forget our first day there. My brand new bride, she runs up and she grabs me by the arm and she's like, "Oh, honey, look at these mountains. Sing me a song." You know, I'm looking at these mountains and the only thing that came out of my mouth was Ricola. That's where I said, "Are any marriage counselors in the house tonight? I need to speak with you after this event." In our church a few years ago, so they had this event called the 5 Love Languages. And my wife, you know, she wanted to take this because I heard one of these experts on the radio talking about, you know, if you're going to romance your wife, there's 2 things you should always strive to do. Number 1, you should keep surprise alive. And number 2, you should do something that she has always wanted to do. And I was like, wow, if I were to do that, she would be surprised. So we took this class about how to know how people accept love from other people. And they came up to the second love language, sir, which was called touch. And I got to tell you, you've never seen a bunch of middle-aged husbands turn into middle school boys when they start talking about the touch. And the teacher was like, "Fellas, listen to me. Touch is a great expression. Some people know that you love them by just a little touch on the back, by just holding their hands, or maybe putting your arm around their waist. And sometimes, fellas, the ladies in your life, they just need to be snuggled and cuddled with no expectations." That's right, fellas. Just snuggle and cuddle with your wife. Sir, true story, the guy sitting next to me leans over and he says, "Hey, you think there's a time limit on that?" I tell you, folks, you got to romance your wife. And somebody told me once, if you really want to get romantic, send your wife a text message. I don't text because largely I don't have a smartphone. Ma'am, I have what's known as a smart aleck phone. Because the few times I've tried to text, man, I will start writing something on my little phone. And for some reason, my phone decides to start erasing what I'm trying to say. And sir, it starts writing its own sentence. I wanted to send my wife the following message: "I love my precious wife." The phone sent her the following: "I love my previous wife." You know, ma'am, I got quite a few text messages right after that, right there. I did. So I guess the moral of this story is my grandma would say, baby, you got to love your wife. You just need to love your wife. And Coach Mike, my grandma was truly one of the funniest ladies I ever met in my life. Now, if you've ever seen the Beverly Hillbillies, you saw my grandma. She was 90 pounds soaking wet, and she was Tennessee through and through. When she said,